I'm not sure if this has been intentional all along, but Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre seems to be able to just keep baiting Justin Trudeau and the Liberal Party's communications team into tying themselves to burning logs in order to attack him for the dumbest stuff possible. Pierre Poilievre rightfully and recently called out the mayors of Montreal and Quebec City for their restrictive housing policy that has been helping to drive housing prices sky high in their cities. And Justin Trudeau and the Liberals think it's a good idea to try and attack Poilievre over this, I guess maybe to appeal to Quebec voters, like acting like, hey, look at this English Canadian attacking your Quebec mayors. But it's not going to work. Affordability is the top issue in every single province, and nobody is going to come to the aid of their mayors when they've been incompetent and actually being able to make sure that there is shelter for people in their cities. There's so many mayors across this country who seem to think that the way you get more things built is by putting more bureaucracy in front of the process to actually starting to build something. It's completely ridiculous, but this is the statement that Justin Trudeau made, posted to the official Liberal Twitter account.
Je suis extrêmement déçu de ce qu'on a vu de M. Poilievre aujourd'hui par rapport à son mépris pour les élus québécois. Ça fait plusieurs fois maintenant qu'il a démontré une condescendance et
Guys, Justin Trudeau is not condescending. That is so weird whenever I see Justin Trudeau condemning Poilievre for things that he is easily more guilty of, like condescension or bullying or being an enemy of the free press. Insane.
Il y a une ignorance par rapport à comment les choses fonctionnent entre le gouvernement fédéral et les provinces. Je pense qu'il est grand temps qu'il s'excuse pour son comportement et pour ce qu'il est en train de dire en s'attaquant contre des élus au Québec.
It's high time for him to apologize for the bullying of these Quebec mayors. These incompetent mayors deserve respect. I don't know why he thinks this line is going to play well. Just because they're mayors in Quebec doesn't mean anything at all. There's nothing special about a Quebec mayor that's going to make voters come out and vote Liberal in order to defend them. Especially, that's a really weird bank shot of a communication strategy, that there's going to be a bunch of people who love their mayors in Montreal and Quebec, and they're going to rush out and vote Liberal even harder to try and, stave off the Conservatives. The Conservatives do not have any Montreal or Quebec seats. So I don't know how this is winning Trudeau any support in Quebec, because anyone outside of those cities probably doesn't give a crap about those mayors, if not thinks they're a complete incompetent morons, just as many of us across the country think our mayors are incompetent morons. In the city of Calgary, Mayor Jody Gondek is raising property taxes by 7.8%, saying it's just a one-time thing. We just need to raise a little bit more revenue, blah, blah, blah. We need to pay for a bunch of useless garbage, frankly. But it's not a one-time thing, because she's going to raise property taxes next year. Even if it's not 7.8%, the next increase is going to be on top of that 7.8% increase, which is going to be on top of all the previous increases. It's insane. These people think that you can just keep adding 2, 3, 4% to the tax every single year. You can't get past 100% taxation. I know we're not close to that in terms of property taxes, but obviously every single decimal point increase on your property taxes is pretty massive based on the price of housing these days. Anyways, it's even in Toronto. If Poilievre attacks like Olivia Chow, do you think he's losing any voters? If anything, he'd gain voters, because there's a lot of people in Toronto who do not like Olivia Chow. Her polling is up right now because she's in her honeymoon period. In a year's time, she's not going to be everyone's favorite mayor anymore. It's actually good for Pierre Poilievre to actually point out those who are responsible for the increased cost of housing. It's people's restrictive zoning laws on the municipal level, the higher property tax on the municipal level. It's some provincial zoning restrictions like that happens in BC to protect different forests and whatnot. And then it's stuff like the crazy high immigration rate we have in this country from the federal level, and the crazy high federal taxation rate on both personal income and corporate income. If we actually took care of that stuff and made everything a little bit more sensible and reasonable, housing would be going up faster and it would be all way more affordable. But Poilievre's bad because he called out the problem. I hate that crap in politics, where if you call out the problem, if you do it in a nice way, obviously you do it in a nice way. And Poilievre has not done it in a rude way. He's not been condescending. He's told people how to do their jobs who have demonstrated that they do not know how to do their jobs. But I hate the idea that if you call out a problem, that you're the bad guy for doing it. It's the pure shooting the messenger type mentality. Ugh. Anyways, As a quick aside, I'm running for the Calgary Signal Hill Conservative Party nomination. So on the federal level, if you live in Calgary Signal Hill, buy a Conservative Party membership and vote for me if you want a real conservative who calls out serious problems and takes serious issues seriously. Buy a membership for me. If you don't live in the riding, if you know anyone who does, encourage them to buy a membership. And if you live in any riding, buy a membership, engage in local politics, whether it's municipal, provincial, or federal. We need more people. It's not just the idea that I find PPC people push that everyone just needs to abstractly wake up to the problems of the country. No, you actually have to do stuff. Just waking up and being awake doesn't actually make you more effective. What makes you more effective is door knocking, attending meetings, pushing for policy at policy conventions, founding parties if there's no good party in your province, like in Ontario, where Doug Ford's PC party is a dubiously conservative party. Get involved and do stuff. I'm getting involved. I'm doing stuff. I'm advocating, but I'm also doing stuff on the ground. Anyway, sorry for that mini rant on engagement, but engage. Basically, engage. Wake up every morning, pound the ball downfield a little bit more, because I guarantee you the leftist activists do that every day. If you wonder how they beat you in municipal races, it's because they are always grinding it out, and they don't take for granted the idea that the city that they live in is already predetermined to be an NDP city, the way that conservatives, in Calgary, I find over time, say it's conservative city, we'll just vote for the conservative guy. You got to work to get that conservative guy elected. He's just not going to walk into the mayor's office and take over. You actually need a real conservative running and people behind him. You can't just wait by in the cheap seats and say, I wonder, people should stop splitting the vote. Well, back one of them. Oh, anyway, annoys me at all whenever I see people who get really whiny about political outcomes, but also never help out. So my campaign website, if you live in Calgary Signal Hill, it's wyattclaypool.com. It's in the description below. I also have my legal fundraiser in the description below. Myself and the National Telegraph being sued by a billionaire. The case makes no sense. If you click on the Give, Send, Go link, there is a link to the Globe and Mail article of the guy suing us. Our entire article that we had mentioned him in referenced only the Globe and Mail's information about him, yet he's suing us because he doesn't want that information ever being repeated, even though he never sued the Globe and Mail or legally challenged them. So his entire case is meaningless, since you can't sue someone for saying something that everyone else has already said, especially if that thing is true. Anyways, sorry for this becoming a bit of an infomercial at the end. I hope my rambling is at least somewhat enjoyable. But other than that, I will leave you guys here today, and I will be back tomorrow with more videos and in the future with more live streams. Have a great one.